Both tacos! How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Silly!
University of Montevallo, 24-96. National champions, Wallace State, Briar and Clinton. Hey there, everybody. Welcome into this week's episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. Exciting weekend coming up. One of the first events to count towards the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia as we enter the second half of the season. First major event of 2023. Anglers are out on the road already. A lot of them are over in Florida getting ready for this MLF event that's going to take place. Some of them even holding over into next week for the Bassmaster College event happening on the same fishery there. So, that being said, we've got a couple anglers taking a break from practice. Drew Gill and Evan Fields hopping on the phone here to talk with us now from Campbellsville University. Campbellsville ranks 6th in the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Drew, we just had the rankings reveal last week as we were rolling that out. You guys were dropped on Thursday in the 6 through 10 reveal as y'all were ranked 6th. When you saw that ranking come out last week, man, what was it like knowing that your team's had a good season so far? You're set up in pretty good position to make a push this spring to finish even higher.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't ask for more than to be where we're at, but with that being said, we're not satisfied. We're wanting to move up a lot, and the next few events should allow us to do that. A lot of points being given out in the next few events, and it's going to be really interesting because we got big fields. You know, it's the start of the spring. Everybody's excited to go fish. So there's a lot of competition out here for points, but we're really excited about the next couple of events.
Evan, talk real quick, man. It's the spring. This is something that a lot of people look forward to. The fall season winds down around the 1st of November, and for some teams, there hadn't been a lot of fishing happening. It's cold where you're living. Some places there's ice. Holidays have been busy. Now we're back at school, hitting reset, getting to go fishing again, getting out on the water for this first time, knowing that there's double points on the line. What's the excitement like to get things started this week?
Oh, as a freshman, this is unbelievable. I'm very excited. Expect a lot out of this team this spring. We're coming hard for that top spot.
And right now in that top spot is the University of Montevallo. They're in first place with 18,915 points. Campbellsville University, I'm going to do some rough math here. You guys are not quite 5,000, just under 5,000 points behind. Have some room to make up this week here. Double points like we said. Another double points opportunity the following week. A championship in February. As this calendar gets going, the points opportunities are going to start piling up. Drew, what is your approach to go out this week to ensure that y'all's team of yourself and Evan are able to contribute on behalf of Campbellsville University and be one of those 2 points earning teams to ensure that Campbellsville maintains position and even has opportunity to continue to move up?
I mean, in events like these, you have a lot of different patterns in play. A lot of people are going to make a lot of gambles, going to make big decisions, make big runs, and do a lot of things that really don't allow for fishing for a concentration of fish. Fishing for points. Really, we've been out here focusing on finding large concentrations of bass, places that have a lot of fish around, places that have a high quality of fish, that even if you don't, have the fish to have 36 pounds or whatever won here last year, even if you're not around the fish to have that, having the fish to catch potentially 20, to catch 22, to catch a big bag and finish really high in the points without risking too much and causing yourself to bomb.
These anglers are over at the Harris Chain in Florida getting things kicked off. Like Drew said, there's always big bags of fish caught this time of year. A little dependent upon the weather that's happening there in Florida. Barring a cold front or anything, fishing can always be really good. Evan, let's talk about what is on hand here. Y'all are fishing an MLF event. It's just going to be one day of tournament competition. You got to go out, sack up 5. The biggest 5 will win the tournament there on that one day of tournament competition. Drew hit on it a little bit about trying to go out and get bites and just be relevant in the conversation towards the top of the standings. What are y'all doing in particular to be able to do that? This time of year, pre-spawn into spawn, are y'all just running down the bank trying to pick up males as they're cruising? What is y'all's game plan as you're starting to wrap up practice and get ready for the tournament?
A lot of people here are fishing the bank. They're just flipping down the bank, doing what they can. But to be consistent and do well, you've got to find off-the-wall stuff, off-the-bank stuff that not everybody's going to find. And you have to do different things than everybody else. And that's what we're trying to focus on.
Definitely a good game plan there. We're talking with Drew Gill and Evan Fields from 6th-ranked Campbellsville University. Going to have two more anglers from that team on here in just a little bit once we wrap up this interview. Drew, for yourself as a team, we're talking about the tournament preparation, what you're going out to try to accomplish, as well as Campbellsville University as a group. What would be a successful weekend for you guys coming out of this? These double points events, anytime you can get over 2,000 points at the MLF and Bassmaster regular season majors, that's a good showing. That's what you're trying to accomplish, earn those points. I believe 1,250 points goes to the leader, and we kind of drop down from there. So if you get over 2,000 points, it means you had probably two teams inside the top 30 or so. What is the expectation, the goal, realistically for Campbellsville coming out of this tournament? To what is that points total, kind of the sweet spot that you would leave Florida saying, man, that was a good weekend there?
Realistically, we want to have two teams in the top 25. That's kind of the base goal. That's really what pushed us in the fall. We had a big jump at Pickwick due to having two teams in the top 25. Those are going to give you really big jumps in the points. The problem is we're in the upper echelon of the field in the points, and if you don't have two, toward the top 15 for the top 10, you're really not going to gain ground on teams like Adrian and McKendree and Montevallo. So really aiming for two in the top 25, but if we really want to make a jump, we're going to have two teams around the top 10.
Trying to make a jump, that is. Campbellsville currently ranked in 6th each of the last couple seasons. Here's the final rankings of the year for the team. 2022, 17th, 21 finished in 11th, 2020 finished in 12th, and 2019 finished in 14th. That's a good bit of consistency, but right now the team up even higher than they may have been in years past, trying to attain one of the best end-of-season rankings in team history. Evan, tell me a little bit, as y'all are going about this week, you're out there practicing, you've got multiple teams on hand. What is going into your game plan, going into your strategy to be able to ensure that what Drew was talking about, getting over that 2,000 point threshold, having two teams inside the top 20, top 15, how do you work together as a group to make sure everybody's locked in, has their plan in hand, and going out to launch the boat on that first day of tournament competition that, man, the team's going to take care of business and we'll go handle ours as well?
Yeah, if you want to do well and finish super high like these high-end teams in college angling, then you've got to work together as a team. And that's not just you and your partner. Your whole team's got to be talking. And you've just got to share your information and do what you can to finish high.
And talking about teammates, getting ready for this event this weekend, we're going to bring in two other members of the Campbellsville University bass fishing team. Jake Thornbury and Morgan Miracle are coming on now as we wrapped up our conversation with Drew and Evan there just a moment ago. Jake, as we were talking with those two earlier, we're talking about the School of the Year race. Campbellsville currently sits in 6th. We dropped those ranking reveals last week. As y'all go into the first event of the season, you've got 14,190 points, little over 4,500 points behind first place. Plenty of time, plenty of ground to make up as we go into the second half of the season. Let's talk about the first half real quick. This is one of the higher rankings Campbellsville's ever attained in the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. Being at 6th right now, what's that mean for y'all as we start the spring season here this weekend?
It just means that we got a lot of work ahead of us. So the work's not finished yet. We've got a great spring lineup for where we're traveling this year, and we're super excited to try to move that up to hopefully first place. We would love to get our first School of the Year title. I think that's every one of our goals this year, so that would be super awesome. But as far as being in 6, it's a great motivator for the year to, for ourselves, to let us know that we can compete with everybody else out there, and we definitely have the potential to earn a School of the Year title.
7 of the top 10 teams at the moment have never won the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. So there's a lot of fuel out there, desire to get towards the top and be able to claim that title. Morgan, what needs to happen here as we start the spring season in the next couple 4 to 5 months as we make that push towards the last event of the year at Lake Hartwell? What needs to happen for the team? What's kind of the goals to accomplish to get to that place where maybe, just maybe, you've got a chance to finish the year ranked number 1?
Yeah, no, I mean, finishing this season at the number 1 spot, winning that School of the Year title is ultimately, the goal, and it 100% can be attained. I mean, Campbellsville University just blesses us so much we have great sponsors. We have just all the support that we could possibly need and want to attain that title. And I think that, starting off this weekend here at the Harris Chain of Lakes, we just got to put our heads down and grind. We have the potential. We have the ability on our team to do that. We have to just go out there and do all that we can do and leave everything out on the water. The good Lord just blesses us each and every day. He really does. And moving forward, going into this event this weekend at the Harris Chain of Lakes and then going into the next tournament the next weekend following, we just really have to work together as a team, and we have to just do all that we can do. Like I said, leave it all out on the water, and we'll be able to move from there, and then we'll go into the next tournament with all the momentum in the world, which in this sport is so important.
As we were talking with Drew and Evan about the event coming up on the Harris Chain, the MLF Major College Event Double Points tomorrow, on Friday of this week, they were talking a little bit about strategy and what goes into these. This one a little more unique as it's just one day. You go out and swing for the fences for a day, or do you go out and get a limit and kind of see how the team does? That's what I want to ask you, Jake. What is the game plan for you two going into tournament competition at this one? Are you going to go try and sack up, over 30 pounds that it might take to win for a 5 bass limit in one day? Or do you go out, fill out a limit, know that the hay's in the barn, you've done your part, and if anyone does better, then the points will only get even more greater as team's best, whatever y'all might be able to bring to the scales?
Well, I think for us, our mindset in any tournament is to go out and catch as much weight as we possibly can and see what happens after that. We'll do everything we can do to put a limit in the boat, but at the end of the day, we're not going to play it safe and just go catch a limit, especially in a one-day tournament. And we're definitely not going to try to save any fish for the future. We're going to try to hook as many fish as we possibly can and put as many in the live well as we possibly can so that we have the most amount of weight as possible.
That's awesome. That's a good game plan going into any kind of tournament, man. That's why most people play the game. You want to go out and get the win. Long-term season goals still staying in your peripheral as well, knowing what lies ahead and being able to do well for the team. Morgan, what will that game plan be then? Going out to try and catch the fish that are going to win this event out there on the Harris Chain. It's January in Florida. Are you going to be flipping big baits? Are you going to be cruising around throwing, kind of fishing the edges of this stuff as the fish may be pushing up to spawn? There's probably some that might kind of be in the act of it, and then always you're sometimes surprised to know some have already finished spawning and are moving back out. How are you going to target those fish? You're going to be out deep, away from the crowds, up shallow, kind of fishing the in-between. What's the game plan to catch the winning fish?
Well, I think for us, the good thing about being in Florida in January is there's a lot going on down here right now. Like you said, there are already post spawners who have, moved up shallow, done their thing, and moved back out. And there's multiple pre-spawners still, waiting on that water temperature to move up, and so that they can move up shallow, do their thing. And there's also, fish actively spawning as we speak. So I think that Jake and I's game plan is definitely looking forward to catching the fish that are coming to us. So we figured out a little offshore deal that has fish actively coming to this place. But we've also spent a lot of time up shallow looking for spawners and seeing a little action doing that, and kind of just going to go off that and see what happens and see where the cards fall.
We're talking with Jake Thornbury and Morgan Miracle from 6th ranked Campbellsville University. Got one last question for each of y'all before we let you go. Been a fun episode here. 2-part interview talking with Drew and Evan earlier, and now Jake and Morgan getting asked similar questions. Get a feel for how the season's going and what the goals are for the rest of the year. Jake, what will be a successful weekend here is this event's going to take place at the Harris Chain? Is that we asked the same question to Drew and Evan earlier. Is that going to be getting two teams in that top 25, top 30 range where you're leaving with over 2,000 points? Are we shooting for, obviously, like you said, you want to win the event. Are you thinking two teams in the top 10 or bust? What is kind of the goal coming out of this and for y'all to leave with a good head of steam going to the next event to keep rolling into the spring with a lot of momentum? What do you want to see happen for Campbellsville at this particular tournament to kick off the spring?
Our main goal as a team is just to get as many teams qualified or in the cut as possible, which obviously does two things for us. It gets us points, and then it also gets more teams qualified for the national championship, which is an awesome thing and an awesome thing for our school to be able to say that we do that for them. But the end goal is to get qualified, and if we win the event, that would be awesome if the Lord blesses us with that, and that's obviously what every one of us out here, everybody on the water this week is going for. That everybody wants to win. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of ways to catch fish, but our goal as Campbellsville is to get as many teams qualified and get as many points as possible.
Morgan, last question coming your way as we wrap up the interviews here this afternoon. When the season's done, we're going to crown the top couple teams, announce the winner of the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia at Lake Hartwell in May. Where would you like to see Campbellsville fall in that? It can be shooting for the stars or also a realistic expectation, but what do you want to see happen for the team for when everything wraps up in May for this season and the School of the Year race, for you to be like, that was a good season, that's what we expected, we maybe even exceeded what we thought we could achieve this year, we're proud as a group of what we've done?
I think ultimately my goal for this program going, finishing up the rest of this season or going into the spring season is a top 5. I think that finishing in top 5 in the School of the Year race at the end of all of this is nothing to hang your head about. We're competing week in and week out against some of the best anglers in the nation. And I think that Campbellsville University finishing in the top 5 is ultimately an amazing thing. I think that we have all the potential in the world to win, but being 4,500 points out of the lead, that is a lot of ground to make up. I'm not saying that can't happen, but realistically, I would never hang my head with a top 5 finish in School of the Year points. And like I said, if something happens and we exceed that is going to be even better. But I'm excited to see how this spring season goes. This is my last hurrah as a Campbellsville Tiger. Loved every minute of it, and I'm excited to see where this program goes in the future.
Just under 500 points separating Campbellsville from that 5th place mark, chasing Auburn University there ahead of you. There's definitely attainable for y'all to get inside the top 5 before the season is all said and done. Jake and Morgan, thank you all for joining us here today. Best of luck at the upcoming events you've got on your schedule. We look forward to seeing out our events for the rest of the year as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. We're super excited to finish out the spring.
Fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
To fishermen and other liars, the time you spent on the docks, the banks, the boats, the lines you cast, and the hooks you set. These moments you share with the people you love, the fish you never forget, and the tales that get taller with every retelling. Make memories that'll last a lifetime with Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.